Are we ready, sir?
It is 6 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order.
Is that recording?
Yes.
Okay, we're recording. Roll call. Mayor Mike Conlon is present. Mayor Pro Tem Railkill. Present. Eva Cullen has a medical absence. Councilmember Ryan Moses.
Present.
Councilmember Smith. Present. Councilmember Swenson is absent. Stand for Ryan. You just let me listen to the class.
Father in heaven, we thank you for allowing us to gather here today. Please bless this country, the state, and the city of Blanco. Please help us guide the city forward in a positive direction. Help those living here and bless the families of Blanco. Thank you, everyone, for being here. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you can get a fixed eagle. We have a left-way eagle. Let's do no, we got rain. That's the big announcement. After that, nobody signed up for public comments, so we're going to jump straight into new business. Dress to be a presentation, please.
Yes, I do. I'm going to share the screen with the people that are watching. Can we do that?
Yes, I think you can go to that second one, the screen.
There.
One of these, maybe, share screen. No. Was that now? Share.
Oh, but I have to pick something.
You pick something and then you hit share.
Okay, so this is going to be last week you heard from okay. Okay. This doesn't work. It's not letting it. Okay, maybe that's okay. All right. So yes, last week we didn't get the rate order from the CNET chair OJ, but what you did get was what the rate study would look like based on the estimated what we'd actually spend for the enterprise fund. So I'm just going to go through this really quickly. He basically explained this better before. In the end, what he looked at was needing a total expense of $2.773 million, and $1,372,000 is on the water side of it. On the wastewater side, $1,400,577.08. And that is basically the itemized. If you look at all these, this is the itemized payroll, itemized everything that you did a lot of work on this, and that is very close to what we had put in the budget. So this utility sheet that he presented last week was basically the basis for what the utility rate increase would be. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you a little bit of background of why we're here today. So do some research. We've had 5 rate increases in the history of Blanco, one in 1987, one in 2001, 2012, 2017, and also in 2020. So the current, kind of, so you can understand, the current rate structure right now, if you have a bill for residential, would be 0 to 5,000 gallons, $7 per 1,000 gallons. So if you 5,000, it'd be $35 plus, the, what OJ was calling the availability fee, which was $39. So what he's planning on doing right now is we're looking at the value of this water, what the cost actually brings to residents. And the change is, instead of having it, we tried a lot of different things, but instead of having it as a graduated scale, so it starts at $7, goes to $8, if you go from 5,000 to 10,000, then $9 to $10. What we're looking at doing is having a water availability fee, we're rating it from $30.90 to $41.49, and that's a 5/8 tap. And then we'll have per 1,000 gallons, it doesn't go up or down, it will be at $10.49 per 1,000 gallons. The reason for that, and I think OJ explained all this, the reason for that is the cost it takes to actually get water to a specific user. The graduated scale portion of it is if you have a tap that's larger. So at 5/8 tap, it's $41.49, and we'll actually go into the rate order that we put together. It'll actually show you how the water availability fee was higher. But the water availability fee is basically an explanation of the cost it takes to provide the water to the customer before a drop is spilled. So that's the general idea. Before we've actually had people that are outside the city that don't pay city taxes that have gotten water. As you know, there are certain locations where we've added additional fees over the years. That's actually going to all go away, and what we'll do is we'll have an addition to the availability fee of $16.12 for anybody that's outside of the city. So that could be Cielo, that could be whatever places that we have. As you know, once we provide water to someone, even if they're outside the city, we're required to provide it. Okay. So let's actually get to the rate study. So before this all happened, about a year ago, we had actually gotten someone by the name of Philip Gibbons with Superior Management. The PUC, Public Utility Commission, paid for this rate study. And Philip worked with CMAQ, worked with administration, worked with the mayor at the time to put together objectives and goals. And in the end, I think you've seen this, in the end, what he recommended was, somewhere. Basically, he recommended a 35% increase from one year to the other, and that's based on that. That's based on what the rate comparisons are. It's also based on what we would need. And the other idea is that a utility system should actually make enough to do the basic maintenance, do repairs, and it's currently not doing that now. So he had suggested 35%. He presented that to council. So you all on council probably remember that. I came back to OJ and the people on CMAQ and discussed that 35% is a really big percentage. So what OJ did is he came back and looked at a specific rate. And that's what we have now. So we have a recommendation from the PUC that hired Superior Management for 35%. We're going to get there eventually, but we're not going to get there now. So we'll put the rate order on. Also, there's some questions about what we've spent in the past. So before we get to that rate order, last year, we had a revenue of $2,179,986 and expenses of $2,524, $869.41. Those are all our numbers. And this year, as you can see, we are at about a deficit of about 600,000. A lot of that is because we're getting the water plant online, we're getting we will be getting the lift station completed as well, so a lot of expenses, a lot of engineering expenses working on that. But that's one thing to tell you. The other thing to let you know, one more thing on finances before we get there. The other thing to let you know is that we have, I think it's such an email, we have $104,000 left of fund balance in the enterprise fund. So we've got 2 or 3 months until we start having to dig into the reserve on the general fund. General fund's not supposed to pay out for the enterprise fund. So,
But when I do have a question,
Sure.
I'd ask you this offline.
sure.
Trying to get some historical data from at least what's posted online, the budgets from the last 5 years, I think. Looks like these deficits are not long, it's a recent phenomenon. Is that because we brought Infomark on and they just cost us a lot?
So I would be guessing, but I'll tell you what.
I can answer for you that.
Sure.
Our accounting system was inaccurate. And basically there was no segregation in between the enterprise fund and the general fund. And it was just a whack. I mean, we did not have good data to make decisions off of due to not having a proper accounting system.
I mean, from what's, I get it's apples and oranges and.
Yeah. We didn't know.
Yeah. But there, I mean, you don't have to look too far back, at least from what the numbers show, where there were actually surplus from enterprise going to general fund. But yeah, it's sort of fuzzy.
Yes. I mean, couple of things. Infomark, they've done a great job. Infomark actually has to, as part of their serving us, they can't keep things down. They've actually got to fix things. The hope, and I know what you're getting at, I think the hope is that these costs that seem to be rising will flatten out and start going down. One thing I do want to mention is that we'll be doing a budget to actual specifically for the enterprise every quarter, provide that to both council and both CMAC, and they're going to review that. And if they have if they want to adjust it up or down the rate, they will make a presentation to council and review that. So the hope is that this flattens out and maybe go down a little bit. I think very rarely go down, but we'll see if it does. Okay, so you can specifically look at talk about what was being changed, but this is specifically what is requested in this. We have over 1,400 customers. 1,389 of them have 5/8 inch taps, which are mostly residential. There's a lot of businesses as well. We have several restaurants, chess clubs that they're all 5/8. So the majority, when we're actually talking about that, the majority of them, I believe it's about 30 to 35 of them, 1 inch or higher, but everybody else is in 5/8. So what you're looking at is, like we talked about before, 32, excuse me, it's going from that base fee to 41.79, so that 39 to 41.79. Again, you can see where based on 1 inch, 2 inch, it goes up. And that's that availability fee. What OJ and CMAC did is they went ahead and flattened it out and made it 10.49 for every 1,000 gallons, whether you're doing 1,000 or you're doing 50,000. His idea is that the adjustable rate comes into that cap. And then the sewer, how we look at the sewer is that 80% of water goes into sewer. There's going to be some runoff, and you're looking at 10.49. But fee on that. The base fee. Just had it.
Looks like more than doubling the sewer.
Yeah, I think base was 32. I was looking at that.
$30.20.
When you look at the graph of the sewer income current versus new, it's more than doubling.
Well, it isn't. It's not gonna, you're not gonna double the bill.
How is it doubling the income then on the graph? It goes from, again, since the sewer income current is right at 40, it goes up over 80 on the new, and that's the graphs.
We'll look to the graph in a minute. I'll get to that. Let me just read this out because, look at 39, 41, 49, that's the availability fee. And then the sewer increase on 20, 30, 20. I'll get that to you. Then we'll look at that graph. Okay.
Son of a bitch.
Talking about?
But there, it's the income distribution, sewer. Okay.
Looking at the sewer income new versus current.
Yeah, that's mislabeled. There's another, the next page says sewer income new versus current is, but the next page.
So if you look at current, if you look at this one right there.
Yeah. New current is the green baseline. It's on the bottom there. It's just under 50,000. It's sewer current. On that graph where the pointer is.
Okay.
The current is that, and then the new is the green line that's way above it. So it's effectively doubling, if not tripling, the current sewer income, if this graph is accurate.
Again, he put this together,
You see what I'm saying?
no, I do get what you're saying, you look at the
The green is the
Well-
current and the blue is the.
So I mean, what I see,
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the graph here, but under new rate structures, the new sewer income is going to produce overall 56,000 more dollars than the old sewer rate. Is what I see, which means,
A month, right?
so let me show you. New rates for
Yeah.
for sewer income,
You,
I just
so it's
should note that it goes up about 56,000.
Yeah,
so it's more than doubling. People are paying more than twice what they would if we're paying for sewer. I'm just trying to understand it.
Do me to explain something?
Brandon,
Sure, please, yes.
Okay, so basically on the sewer side, it has been beyond grossly undercharged. And so if you looked at a breakdown of what the city spends on water and what we spend on sewer, it's 5149. So basically the amount of money we spend as a city on water and sewer is basically even. But yet we are charging a lot more for the water than we were for the sewer. And so the theory behind this is doing the 1049 for both so that we can adequately charge for the actual service that is recuperating the possible. So where you see that line of where the sewer was, just because it was there, that's basically the lack of changing in the cost, not the actual cost itself. And so the new rate structure, the idea is to recuperate the cost of the process, because at the end of the day, this isn't wants versus needs and the other portion of the budget, this is it.
Sure, no, I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah, so yes, it does drastically raise the cost of sewer, but that is because the cost of sewer is drastically higher than what we're charging.
I don't know how we make consideration for it, but for the past 12 months of our calls, we've been buying water. And there, we should be able to produce water if we had a plant problem. If we had the two other things that we need, there may be some savings, and I think, having a review periodically, and if we're in that position and we find that we're able to, we can reduce some rates. At this one time, the only accurate historic data we have is us buying water. And I think, didn't Canyon Lake,
They raised the rate, so it's gonna go up 90,000.
they raised the rate in the last year, $90,000.
And GBRA raised theirs, I believe, $600 a month, so, or no, $500 a month, or $6,000 annual.
Well, I'm not arguing with the enterprise fund didn't pay for itself.
Right, I mean, it's,
I'm just trying to understand that.
I guess, if we're having a general discussion at this point, we can't continue to sell under cost, or we'll be insolvent. And we can't, and it's not proper management to go back to the general fund, and we don't have a surplus for our budget in the general fund to go to.
And, yeah, it's not right for the taxpayers to be offsetting the cost of utilities with people. I get it.
We're subsidizing ourselves, that's what we can do.
The current, what we have is $258,000 in the general fund. We have a fund balance of about 104 in enterprise, and should really at least be flipped. Our general fund's getting relatively healthy, and the enterprise fund should be something or will not. You will notice though that what we approved on the budget was slightly less than what CNET is presenting as the actual budget for next year, and that is, I think, mainly due to that $90,000 of buying water. So there's a little more costs, but that's to let you know that's what he did. We took the cost of the budget to provide utilities and then create a rate order.
With the rate order, the way it's proposed.
Yes.
And if our costs stay consistent with last year, knowing that we have the increase from Canyon Lake and things of that nature, it will break even.
It should provide $56,000 of fund balance.
So that's the way we go.
Yeah, the basic rate.
What else you got?
That's it, sir.
Any questions, discussion?
I'll make a comment that the work that's been done by the CMAC committee, and its members and staff is highly appreciated from me as a member of council. Without it, we'd just be doing another wag, and I'm glad we have data and we have identified a problem, and we've got a plan of corrective action, and I don't see any other options, so I'd like to make a motion. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2023 013 water and sewer rates in the city of Blanco and Blanco's ETJ.
Motion, is there a second?
I will second.
Okay. Discussion, yes.
Don't take this personal, guys. I understand numbers. I can see that we're gonna run the city bankrupt if we don't do this, but I'm not gonna vote for this one just because there is money that's out there that will be upset about this, and they deserve to come forward. So,
What are
where are they? They're, I'm sorry, the rate is too much of an increase. We haven't had a rate increase since 2020.
2020, sir.
If you hire him for Mark to work for us, even if you don't know the numbers, I'm pretty sure I would have suggested at least start rate increasing, even though we didn't know the numbers at that time. I wasn't here. I think it's just too high of an increase for 1 year. I'm not gonna vote for it, but I do understand.
Well, how would we offset the loss? Where do we get the money?
Why was there not a rate increase? 2021, 2022. I mean,
There wasn't one. Right, and I was on council then, so I'll take some of that burden, but at that point in time, we did not have accounting information to identify the problem.
I don't think you needed it. You hired in from Mark, you knew how far money was going up. You should have begun to step rates up at that time. Like I said, nothing personal. I don't know because I was on council. I think 20% is too much. I understand the numbers, but I think that there's enough people out there that deserve a voice up here. And unfortunately, it may upset you. But I'm not voting for it. You took to approve that. But I'm not holding it against you guys. Or talking ill of you for not voting for it, because I understand it needs to be done. I appreciate you guys standing up for it. Thank you.
And just so you know, I have spoken with Carlos Coy, the head of the Ministerial Alliance, affiliated, of course, with Good Safety Net Program. That people who have,
Moses isn't voting for it.
on a need basis, it's charity
Smith made the motion. Moses not voting for it.
that is a problem. And they have heads up, they know that, we're likely going to raise the rates and they are prepared. So if there are people that,
Ain't gonna pass because Laura's not there.
in lieu of getting their water, electricity shut off, they
Well,
can go
Mr. Mayor breaks it.
get some support for that. So there is a safety net.
I think that's great.
Well, wait a minute, it might have Keith on there.
I'm just curious, so what I'm hearing is you recognize that likely a rate increase is necessary. But you take issue with how much is one is. Is there a rate increase that you would be comfortable with approving that? Just for conversation's sake.
I'd like to see 10%, honestly. I understand that doesn't make a solvent budget, but I think going over 10% 1 year's period of time, I could understand having to do it several years in a row, but it should have been started 10% last year, and it should have had a rate increase. We've had decent numbers. I came to the budget meeting last year. We knew enterprise fund was insolvent last year. There wasn't a rate increase implemented at that time. There should have been at least a 10% increase at that time. There'd been another 10%.
Warren must know something because he said
10%
if you didn't have the votes, you wouldn't let him go and do it.
And nearly 20% on families at one time. I
Oh, you're
understand,
such a
but
kiss,
that's
yeah.
on top of the 6% tax rate, so this hurts, guys. I mean, that hurts families. I expect there's going to be to the vote for it. I'm hold it against it, but I'm not going to vote for it. Sorry. So I stand on that.
Any other conversation, discussion?
Well, just to that, I mean, we've talked a lot about water recently and securing our water. It does seem to me that charging people what it's actually costing is the first step towards securing our water. If we're insolvent, we're all in trouble. But beyond that, Councilmember Smith, I was wondering, would you consider adding to your motion that we review the enterprise fund quarterly and amend the rates if necessary?
I don't think I'd do that quarterly. I'd do it semi-annual. I mean, once every 3 months, you're not gonna have your, you're gonna have fluctuations. It's gonna jump up and down depending on if we're doing some sort of repair or whatever else that comes through. We have some unforeseen costs.
Question, Warren, is the expense budget such that each month is an accurate snapshot, or are there monthly expenses that make it, you have, I mean, what's a lot big enough for there to get an accurate snapshot?
The biggest, if you quarterly, CMAQ is going to review this quarterly, but we probably won't have enough data to probably the middle of January. So for example, yes, the first quarter ends on December 31st, so we're not gonna have that data available on January 2nd. Probably in the middle of the month, we'll share it with CMAQ. CMAQ probably give you recommendation of in February, and then in February, you probably could have an accurate look, but that would be winter months and that would be summer months. So you might wait till 6 months, but 3 to 6 months would be the accurate thing. That's,
It would, I'm just speculating, it seems like a year cycle would really be the only way to get a real baseline. Because you got the summer and the spring and all that stuff, and then if you go and adjust it too much, you're gonna be adjusting it all the time.
And then you'll adjust and then you'll
Readjust it.
it'll be just like a wave.
Yeah.
You need to, I think there needs to be a stability to it, so you can project your.
I would be in favor of annual on that basis. It just seems like all this work and not having enough data. We don't want to be zip, change it, make people didn't know how to budget. I regret that it needs to be a big increase, but it does need to be.
Well, if we did it annually, I mean, honestly, if you think back, we ordered the rate study, how far back?
yeah, I wanted to mention the reason why we didn't do the rates last year. Is we asked for a rate study for 5 or 6 months. I think we got a presentation either earlier this year or late last year on the rate study. Paid for by PUC. And I will just let you know that I've been part of a rate increase without a rate study. And I will tell you that's a bad mistake because communities have nothing to fall back on. Yes, there will be people that will be hurt by this and then there will be somewhat of a shock, but you actually have math and science back.
Well, and I guess to the credit of CMAQ is the rate study suggested 35%.
35%.
And they basically have cut that in half.
The other side of looking at that, this past couple of years, those same people that will be struggling based on this have been receiving a free gift that's subsidized by taxpayers who have funded their water and sewer bill. That's just the reality of it. They've received gifts for the last year from taxpayers that they're not going to be receiving in the future. This is not anything more than just right sizing the. I mean, people need to get what they pay for, they pay for what they get. And it's regrettable that we're in this situation, but we are in this situation.
You identify a problem and you correct it.
And just speaking of Councilmember Moses' point, I mean, I am opposed to undercharging, but I would like to evaluate this periodically so that if we find out we're overcharging, and it's a possibility to lower it. Of course, the converse could be, what's
So, I mean, we know that if we did a 6-month window right now, our water plant will hopefully just be coming online. We won't know, 6 months, I don't think we're gonna have any basis for, a good level set. So I think the annual is baked in.
I think annual, and if we find another need, we identify it, it starts showing up, then we can call for another. But I think an annual review would prevent a large increase, and hopefully with some efficiency out of producing our own water, some savings, and we can actually, do a decrease.
And that annual review is already baked in, it's the budget process.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the
amendment.
the motion stands to pass this, and it's been seconded. There's not been-
Right, and I would like to amend the motion to require a minimum of an annual review. And that gives us a window if we want to do it as soon as we can.
And I just want to add, of course, I'm abundantly thankful to CMAQ for all the many volunteer hours that went into this. They reviewed several models, and it seems to me this one that we've landed on, where everybody is charged the exact same rate per 1,000 gallons, is the most equitable, I think, because some of the other models where it was top heavy with our biggest users. Some of our biggest users are apartment complexes that service low income residents. So I think this model makes the most sense in correcting our shit here.
So to modify the motion, we second the modification for the
I will second the modified motion.
So the motion before the body is to pass ordinance number 2023-0-013 water and sewer rates in Blanco with the addition of requiring a minimum and annual review. That's the motion. All in favor? All opposed?
I'll give in favor. I'm in favor.
Okay,
I'll vote on it.
unanimous. All in favor? Okay, okay, there you go. It passes unanimously. Good job.
They paid something, I don't know, paid something about
With
annual
your praise.
annual review.
Yeah, they've done a lot of great.
CMAC has done wonderful.
We couldn't afford to pay them. Okay, that is new business. We're going to close the public portion of the meeting for a while and go to executive session, and we'll be back. I think it is.
Thank you.